Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We have Harrison and Sean's back with us tonight. How are we doing, fellas?
What's up, boys?
How we doing, boys?
Doing all right. I got a big trip coming up, dude. I am smiling ear for ear. I am ready for 3 more stadiums checked off my list, so I am pumped. And we won't talk about.
I'm pumped for you, dude. I'm stoked.
I know. I'm so jealous of this trip. I keep waiting for the envelope to show up that has my tickets in it so I can join you, but mail must be slow.
I couldn't talk the wife into it. So, I mean, I'm going for the big 4-0. So it's crazy that I'm turning 40.
Dude, I'm pumped for you, man. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a great time.
Missing Garrett Cole by a day, but I'll get to see Luis heal. So
I think I'd rather see Heal the way he's pitched this year.
Yeah, it's true. But all right, we got
Garrett Cole, still Garrett Cole, Harrison.
I mean, I get it.
And as long as he ain't pitching against the Red Sox, he's Garrett Cole.
Good point.
Fact.
I mean, fair.
Yeah. All right, we got a lot to get into, but first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can also subscribe on YouTube or listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right.
So, Nick, I got to interrupt you. We need to talk about the elephant in the room.
What's that?
We have to have a conversation, the three of us, open and honest conversation.
Oh, boy.
So, my phone goes off this afternoon, and it's a message from Sean. And he's remembering a home run that Nomar Mazara hit from like 4 or 5 years ago. Whoa, no, let me finish. And immediately we start debating what ballpark, when it was, players he was like, other home runs. Boys, we have a problem. We need to admit the fact that we have a problem.
Yeah, so we have a problem. So I was at Barnes & Noble. So I was like trying to kill a couple hours. Like Sarah was here working and she was like getting the dog settled down and like just having an extra person in the house. Like the dog was going nuts. So I was like, I'm going to get out of the house, kill a couple hours. So I went to Barnes & Noble and I was just like walking around. I have no idea why it popped into my head. But all of a sudden I was walking through one of the aisles and I was like, do you guys remember that home run Nomar Mazara hit? It was like 500 feet. And I don't know. It just like popped into my head. But you guys remembered it. So, it wasn't totally useless.
No, it was not. I think the problem is we all remembered it. And then we started debating where it was hit, when it was hit.
Yeah, well,
players that he was like, we went deep down the Nomar Mazara rabbit hole, and it didn't deserve a rabbit hole trip, but we went there because we couldn't help ourselves.
But so I had to look it up to like verify the stuff we were talking about. That ball was torched.
Oh yeah.
That ball was torched. And not only did it go 500 plus feet, it got out of there in like 2 seconds. I mean, it was not one of those like Adam Dunn one. Like it was a line drive. It was smoked.
Yep.
He was a switch hitter too, wasn't he?
Guys,
sure
like this is the problem we have. Like we go down these
maybe
rabbit holes
not
because we can't help ourselves.
Maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to look that part up.
Yeah, do that because for some reason he's the switch hitter in my head. But
and he got bombs occasionally.
Yeah. All right. We'll start off with Tuesday because we were live during the home run derby on Monday. All-Star game was Tuesday. It was actually a pretty entertaining game, I thought.
Good game.
It was.
No, he was just sorry, Nick. He was just a left.
Just a lefty. All right.
Yeah.
So scratch that. Anyways, the AL has won 10 out of the last 11 games. And it would be 11 for 11 if Elias Diaz for the Rockies didn't win the MVP last year. But that's crazy. I mean, you go back through the history of the All-Star game, and it is utter dominance by one league in stretches.
Yeah, it's weird. It is stretches like that for sure.
And I don't get that part of it. I guess that's baseball, right? That's the anomaly of baseball. But like, it is just like, I think it was 70s or 80s. It was like all National League with like an American League win and a tie like mixed in there. And then you get to the 2000s, it was the same way, but like the AL and like it just goes back and forth.
It's funny how the All-Star game and it just
I don't know the reason for it. It's weird.
And again, like we were talking about, like you said, that's the nature of baseball, right? And I think the funny thing about it too is baseball it's meant to be played in series, not games, right? That's why you don't play like yes, hockey, you get to the postseason, you play a series, but you just play single games throughout the regular season. Baseball's not like that. It's a series. It's made up of series, and it's interesting how we're going through this stretch right now where it's like American League is dominating essentially the All-Star game, but that doesn't translate to like World Series, right? I mean, you
Right.
get a couple ALs, a couple NLs, and then you have maybe 3 NLs, and then a couple ALs mix it in. But it's pretty even. Like if you go back and look at the list, I would say it's exactly one every other year, but for the most part, it's pretty even.
Yeah.
But yeah, the All-Star games is crazy. It's just like the American League lately, it's just been absolutely dominating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with no lack of talent in the NL.
Oh,
no.
Well, no, and
obviously.
we were literally talking about this offseason, how it feels like a lot of the talent has moved out of the American League into the National League. You've had a flock of people go that direction, and it hasn't translated. The American League still does well in the All-Star game. So, but it's cyclical. It comes in waves. Somebody dominates for a while, then they hand it back and forth. But I do think that given the nature of that, not having it decide home field advantage is important, because when you get into these cycles where like constantly the AL gets home field advantage because they've won 10 out of 11, like you're kind of putting your finger on the scale a little bit and changing that.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, I do go back and forth. I know we've talked about it before on this platform, but like in theory, like I like that the game means something. Right. It happens in the middle of the season. Like you might as well give it some type of weight. But on the other side of it though, like if the game actually does mean something, then like it shouldn't be the fans deciding who's playing in it. Like that's always been, that was always a problem for me. It's like, we're just going to go on and vote a million times for the guy that we think is the most handsome. Like that's crazy. And now like his performance in this game is deciding whether his league gets home field or like, that was such a bizarre thing for me. So I'm glad that, I don't know, I go back and forth because I do like the idea of the game meaning something, having some type of meaning. I don't know. And the idea that every team needs to have a representative is another one that I struggle with.
So there was a debate on Facebook. Our guest next week actually put it out. Baseball History Dork on his page. He put out an interesting concept to maybe move it to the end of the season, kind of like the Pro Bowl in football. Yeah. Now, so I commented and I said, here's my reason where I think it should stay where it is. The season is such a grind. Mm-hmm. And other than the 25 guys that make, or 30, whatever the number is, that make the All-Star team, everybody else gets almost a week off to go home, to rest, to do what they want. And we're not competing with any other sport right now. Right? So baseball can literally be the showcase in the summer, all your stars in one place. If you put it after the season, now you're looking end of October, November. You're competing against the NFL. You're competing against the NBA. You're NHL. Competing NHL, right?
All of them, yeah.
Right.
All of them at this point.
So then, all therefore, your All-Star game's not going to get the recognition it should. And the back half of the season's such a grind. Like it's good for these guys to get a break, So that
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, I think you could have your cake and eat it too there, though. You could still give the week off.
Yeah.
You could still give in that way. Now, even those 25 All-Stars are still getting that week that everybody else is getting. I mean, you could still give the week off. There's nothing saying that you have to just, if you're moving the All-Star game, that you have to essentially remove that week. You could still give them the week off. The schedule doesn't necessarily have to change.
Yeah,
but I actually agree with your point fully, though, about like not competing with other sports right now.
Yeah.
And again, dude, I mean, think about like everybody, and you don't have to be like the biggest baseball fan, but like school is out, like kids are home for the summer. I mean, it's like you're growing up, man. Like you would get a bunch of your buddies in, and you'd go to one house every year and you'd watch the home run derby, and you'd be back there the next night and you'd be watching the All-Star game. It was just like a thing. It's like, I still look at the home run derby and it brings me back to like going to my buddy Matt's house when I was all through elementary, middle school, even into high school. Like just what we did, it's like, it would be a little weird, not to say I would hate it. It would just take a lot to get used to taking something like that and moving it to the end of the year.
Yeah. No, I agree. So it was an interesting point of view, I saw where he was coming from, but it's just, I was just like, I don't know, hold the phone a little bit on that one.
I do like the idea, and it does, it's an honor to be named as an All-Star, but it does stink that, you don't get that time off that the rest of the league is getting. I don't know. There's just something about it being in the middle of the year, kind of. That's the halfway point, even though this year wasn't exactly the halfway point, but
Right.
it's your halfway point. It's kind of a break for everybody. The fans get something that they can tune into and watch, but it's not that serious. It's just something about it being in the middle of July that I just would have a hard time getting used to if it's not.
Yeah.
Well, it's been that way for so long. It'd be like it'd be shocking for him to change it.
Yeah.
It would be weird. And it's a good break. You're near the midway point. Guys need a breather. You know, the benefit to being outside of the season or after the season is that like the NFL Pro Bowl is that you'd have more guys that would play because there isn't games coming. Like you're going into the off season. You got nothing else to do. But at the same time, like it is the Midsummer Classic for a reason, and it's worked out that way for a very long time.
I think it's a good benchmark for players that have been injured in the first half too.
Yeah.
Like you think about like players that have been hurt and they're like, oh, I'm going to come back around the All-Star break or right after. So like it gives them kind of like almost a calendar date to like strive for.
You can still have that though, like because if you
Right.
still give that week, if the game itself is moved but that week off isn't, then you still have that.
Yeah.
Like
fair.
it's not, you're not necessarily losing that. I don't know if I'm kind of talking myself into this right now. I don't know. Like,
There's pros and cons for sure.
I don't hate the idea. It would be hard for me to get used to. It would be weird to get used to, but I don't hate the idea. And Harrison, I think you make a good point. Guys would be more willing to play unless you had serious injuries in which like surgeries are scheduled, right? But by and large, more guys would be willing to play. I think the one thing that I would be curious about is like, you know, obviously we're putting the cart before the horse here, but like how would the voting be like it? Because I mean, would we still have like mid-year All-Stars, end of the year All-Stars, and you don't necessarily play, like you have to get voted twice to play in the game, or is it like how would that work? I have no idea. I don't know if we have the answer.
Yeah, I mean,
like that would be an interesting thing to figure
maybe it's
out.
a second vote. Maybe it's a players poll. You know, they vote for each other. I mean, you could actually get creative and do a second game with a whole different mechanism of doing it. Like, you know, every team gets to nominate 2 players and they get picked by other players. Like you could go crazy with how you do it to make it a little more fun.
You could still keep the fan voting thing that we have now for the first half of the year, but there's no game. You know, maybe you still keep the home run derby. Maybe you still get like 10, 12 guys that will participate in a home run derby. Maybe you still have that, right? It's not the whole
just don't do an October All-Star game at Fenway. Do that south.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
nobody's gonna want to hit home runs in October.
But like, I don't know. Maybe, but maybe you know, you still do. The fans are voting for their All-Stars, and there's no All-Star game, but you still get like this type of recognition. So if you have a All-Star, kind of number to hit in your contract, that would still count as you getting an All-Star nod. There's just no game that you're playing in July, but you still get an All-Star. I don't know. I mean, there's ways to work it. I don't hate the idea. I do think it would suck for baseball because as much as I would watch it, I would watch an All-Star game at the end of the season in like late October, but you would definitely lose eyeballs. There's no doubt about it. There's absolutely no doubt. And I think baseball would be concerned, and they should be concerned about that. You don't want to lose eyeballs on something that you've been,
building,
so promoting for so many years.
Right. So, all right, let's get to the All-Star game itself. Ohtani homers because, well, of course he did. That ball was tattooed. That was
MLB
shot.
needed something to talk about for the entire week on their Facebook page. So,
yeah. Then Jarren Duran comes up and hits the go-ahead 2-run homer, gets the MVP. So one of our 2 All-Star representatives from the Red Sox wins MVP. That ball was smashed too. He got all of that one.
Yeah.
I
got to tell you, man. I mean, we can probably get to this a little bit later, but he should be in the discussion for American League MVP. There's there is no question at this point. I mean, we're talking late July. And the body of work that he has put in through 94 games or whatever, the 93 games or whatever they've played. Dude, it is up there with most valuable player numbers.
Yeah.
It's a shame because MVP, like lately, like it's just turned into like who hits the most home runs. Like that's essentially what the MVP is. This is the guy that hits the most home runs, or unless like a unicorn, like
Acuna's year.
Right. Yeah, right. But like Durant belongs in the conversation. Is he a runaway to win it? No, but like he belongs in that American League MVP conversation right now.
He should
And
get
I
votes.
will die on that hill.
Yeah, he should
Yeah.
absolutely earn votes.
I
Well,
will die on
does
that
he
hill.
win it? Probably not, but he should be in the top 5, I would think. Name
Oh,
four. Name 5 players that have had a better season so far than him
Gunnar
in the American
Henderson,
League.
Bobby Witt Jr.
Judge.
Yeah, of course, Judge Soto.
I thought you were like trolling there by leaving Judge.
I just listen. I space everything Yankees off.
That's right.
Usually,
I
but-
get it. I
Who?
get it. I was like, is he going to say
Yeah.
Judge?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, he deserves to be in the talks for sure. He really
He should
does.
definitely get some votes.
Yeah.
Because he's
Crazy.
done a little bit of everything, which not. I mean, Judge and Soto have had great seasons.
Who
But
would
have they done everything? No, but they've done something. They've done something really well.
Who would have thought we are talking about Jarren Duran in this capacity after the play
that
in
fly
center
ball.
field?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that vaunted fly ball.
I wrote him off after that play. I said, this kid
We all
doesn't
did.
have it. Yep, doesn't have it.
We all did. We got on the next Monday. We got it. I'm sure we could dig it up.
Yep,
We got on
ship
there.
him
And
out.
we crucified him.
Yeah, we wanted to ship him out.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, we talked about attitude. We talked about hustle. We talked about love of the game. We talked about respecting the game, respecting your teammates. I mean, we crucified this guy.
Yeah. Did you see the
And-
interview? Did you see the interview they had with him during the All-Star game or during the All-Star break? And what
Just
he
bits and
talked about that season, and basically he said exactly what we said. You know, my attitude was wrong, my work ethic was wrong. He goes, I went into that offseason just feeling like I needed to decide if I was going to play baseball or not, because at that point I didn't want to play anymore. He goes, I made mistake after mistake. I had a bad work ethic, I had a bad attitude, and I didn't belong in Major League Baseball. Everybody knew it, including me. He goes, and I decided that offseason, I considered not playing baseball anymore. He goes, and my dad told me I needed to figure it out. He goes, so I went back to work and said I'd earn my place back. And he did.
And then some.
But
for
he was
sure.
all the things we said, but he made the decision that offseason, no more. Like, I'm not going to be that guy anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's get to Hall of Fame induction. I'm going to admit I did not watch any of this. I was really busy on Sunday, but Helton, Mauer, Beltre, and Leland are your new members of the Hall of Fame. Do we agree with these 4 going in?
I think for the
I
group
think
you had,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. I would you, is there one you're particularly looking to argue against?
You're still stuck on Mauer, aren't you?
I mean, sort of, just because like the numbers aren't particularly there. Was he the best catcher of that time? And that, like, yeah, for sure. Like, I would take Joe Mauer on my team 100 times out of 100.
Well, so I think that
the whole
kind of answered your question, right?
Well, right. So like, but you look at Hall of Fame and you look at the accumulation of stats, you're like, well, why is this guy in? Like, if I'm 50 years younger, right, and I go to the Hall of Fame in 2065 and I'm looking at his plaque, I'm like, why is this dude in the Hall of Fame? Like, you know,
I get
like,
it. I
we
think
know
that's
because
a
we
dangerous
saw.
game to play. I think that's a
I agree.
dangerous game to play.
I
And I
agree,
think
but-
we get into this every fucking year.
And
like
we're
late July.
getting into
And
it too.
Here we go.
I feel like I'm gonna be like word for word the same shit I said last year. But
It's the 3rd annual Hall of Fame bubble talk. Let's go.
I think the problem that we have in baseball, and the writers have done it, so it's like it's like the blueprint to get into the Hall of Fame is there. It's all about numbers, and I understand like there has to be some sort of like base. Like you have to have a base, but I think it should be more important. How do I want to say this? I think it should be more important that you are a player that when you played for your, I think there should be a minimum of like 10 years. I mean, you can't play for 3 years and be in the Hall of Fame, right? There should be like a minimum number. Like
it is.
I think
It's
10 years is a good number.
It is 10.
Right? It is 10. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's a good number. For the 10 years plus that you played, if you were the guy that other teams, other managers, other coaches, other front office people were game planning against, the Twins are coming to town. How does Joe Mauer not beat us? Yeah. When we get on the base paths, we got to make it happen because Joe Mauer is going to throw us out. Like that's the guy. Then I think if you're that guy for 10 years, then you're a Hall of Famer. Like you're a Hall of Famer. I recognize that maybe the numbers offensively, let's say, don't stand up to other catchers that are in there. I get that. But like for the 10, 11, 12, 13 years that you played, you were the guy. I mean, what else do you want? You're the guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so important for me. And I hate the way that they vote with these writers, because how are you not biased? And they can say all they want that they're not biased. Like, how are you not biased? You like guys and you don't like guys. You're willing to cut guys some breaks and other guys you don't cut breaks for. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk to anybody that played against, coached against, managed against Joe Mauer, they'll all tell you the same thing. That guy was one of the best players in the league for the years that he played. To me, that's what makes it like a no doubter.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
yeah, so I mean, you look at Joe Mauer, and obviously it's hard to compare catchers over the years, but I'm going to use WAR. You're welcome. If you look at catchers by WAR, in career WAR, Joe Mauer is the 11th best catcher all time. And if you look at his WAR over his top 7 seasons, he's the 6th best catcher all time. So, and then for 5 years, he's the 7th best catcher all time. In his prime, he's in the top handful of catchers in the history of baseball. Did his career end early? Yes. Did it have to? No. He opted to retire. He could have kept playing, but he said, look, I'm going to go out when I can still do it. I'm not going to keep putting my body through this. I want to have a life outside of baseball. So he left. But in his prime, he's one of the top handful of catchers of all time. Body of work, he's outside of the top 10. Is that Hall of Fame worthy? I think we've talked about. Is it like blow you away Hall of Fame worthy? No. But like, it's Hall of Fame worthy in the sense that those numbers are good enough to get in. And he was effectively the face of the game for so long. In his prime, he was the guy. His face was everywhere. Everybody knew him. Like, so to a generation, he is up there on the Mount Rushmore of players because he was that important to the game of baseball in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Which to me tells you more than what just a buffet of numbers can tell you.
So, yeah, were the stats good enough? Yeah. But when you layer on top of that he was the face of the game for a decade, yeah, I mean, you can't not put him in. That would be, it would be silly. A guy who's that noteworthy and is that recognizable, not being in the Hall, would be a travesty.
Yeah, and I totally get that. I'm just thinking future fans, you go back. I mean, you think about I'm sure there's a lot of guys in the obviously 30s and 40s that I know nothing about that are in the Hall. And I go back and read their plaque and I'm like, yeah, so, and nothing against them and what they did in their careers, but it's hard, right? Like we've always said that we're small Hall guys, right? Like you have to be the elite of the elite to get in. Like, I know we joke about the 1% of the 1%. Yeah, it would be a Hall of 2 players, but like at that point, Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth, bang, that's it. That's your Hall of Fame. But obviously we're not going to do that. But like we get into like the borderline talk. I understand there has to be a line, right? There has to be a line somewhere. And baseball has all those intricate parts and stats and the intangibles that are hard to measure on a plaque that you can only see if you watch the game and you follow the game. So like there's guys that are in the Hall that I don't think should be, and there's guys that are out that I think should be in. But how do you draw that line?
Well, I think it's I don't think it's possible now. Like I think baseball has made it an accomplishment of numbers. Like it's been turned into that. Like it's been turned into the 3,000 hits, the 400 home runs, or the
500 home runs.
Yeah, thank you. Like the automatic, like, well, you get that number, you're automatically in the Hall of Fame. So it's been turned into that. So now instead of talking about like who was this player for the 12 years that they played, like not just the numbers. Yes, the numbers are important, but like did they essentially change the way the game was played? Like was this particular person like the focal point of every single opponent for the 12 years, 13, 14 years that they played? It becomes less about that and it becomes more of just like the numbers. And now what we're doing is we're now arguing not like who was this player like full scope wise. We're talking about, well, he didn't quite have 3,000 hits, but he did miss time here. And what would he have had? And now you're bumping him up. Well, he doesn't have 3,000 hits. He has, 2,600, but this guy that has 2,558 is in the Hall of Fame. So if this guy's in the Hall of Fame, shouldn't that guy be in the Hall of Fame? And now we're just doing that game. And it's like neither one of those guys were focal points. Like, in my opinion, like they can both fuck off. You know what I mean? Like I don't but this is what the writers have done in baseball, and made it an argument about like numbers and not full scope who was this player. And it just frustrates me every year. It frustrates me because to me, like Joe Mauer, the guy that started this conversation, is an absolute no-brainer. Like no-brainer.
Yeah, that's fair. So what do you think about Todd Helton then? Being in Colorado, like does that taint his Hall of Fame case at all?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I would die on the hill that Todd Helton's a Hall of Famer. Like, I think Todd Helton, outside of what the numbers are telling you, and I have no idea if the numbers are going to back this up, but I can tell you for somebody who's watched a lot of baseball and like gone back and rewatched a lot of old baseball, like Todd Helton was one of the guys.
Yep.
He was one of the guys for when he played. He was just it. Good teams, bad teams, mediocre teams, teams that went on runs and made the postseason, teams that flopped at the end of the season and didn't make the postseason when they should have. This guy was the guy.
On the road, I have his road stats right here. 287 batting average on the road, 142 home runs, 547 RBIs. So, I mean, his splits are there. I mean, 316 batting average, and ended with 369 home runs. So, half of his home runs, more than half of his home runs were a little bit under.
A little bit under.
Half of his
40 something,
We're on the road. So, I mean, his splits are there. So it's not like he dominated Coors Field and then went on the road and laid an egg.
But so even if he did dominate Coors Field, do I think that helped him? Yes, but it doesn't. Like, how many inches does that add, so to speak? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, does it help a little bit? Sure. But like, you're still playing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ball games, and you still have to hit all those home runs. You still have to, and we're not just talking power numbers. Like, does the altitude help you hit 316, or are you just a really good goddamn baseball hitter to hit 316 for your career? Like, I mean, are you going to get a few? Sure, you're going to get a few. No question. But you could argue that about ballparks in general and not just altitude. You could argue that Fenway is as much of a home field advantage as Colorado for certain hitters. You're going to start taking away, you're going to start asterisking guys.
All right.
We already are, so why not?
But I'm just saying, like, that's a dangerous game to play. Like,
yeah. All right. Can I run a scenario by you guys? Follow me here for a minute. Do we all agree David Ortiz is a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you not? Is that a serious question? Yeah.
Serious. Yeah. Do you believe that David Ortiz is a Hall of Famer?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
David Ortiz in his career, his WAR was 55. There's a player here whose career WAR was 58.
Mm-hmm.
In his best 7 years, this player was 39 versus Ortiz was 35. Best 5 years, 27 versus 25. Best 3 years, 21 versus 17. Can you guess the player I'm comparing him against?
Carlos Beltran.
John Olerud. John Olerud, on the balance, was a more valuable player than David Ortiz. Not a Hall of Famer. So now let's go down that path. So David Ortiz, career WAR 55. Helton's 61. Best 7 years, Ortiz was 35. Helton was 46.5. Best 5 years, Ortiz was 25. Helton was 37.4. Best 3 years, Ortiz was 17.4. Helton was 25. Helton was substantially more valuable a baseball player than David Ortiz was. Now, many reasons for that. He played good defense.
Right.
David Ortiz played no defense.
Olerud was one of the most dominant defensive first basemen of his time.
So John Olerud statistically is a more valuable player than David Ortiz, not a Hall of Famer. Todd Helton is substantially more valuable than David Ortiz. And so Todd Helton is the 15th rated first baseman of all time. Olerud's 20th, Ortiz is 25th. Ortiz got in the Hall of Fame instantly.
But here's what I'm talking about though. But I think this is a much better conversation than we've had the past 2 or 3 years. It's like, this is more substantial. It's not just me like yelling at the clouds. But I think this is exactly where my argument goes though. Mm-hmm. Because right now you're just yelling numbers, and the numbers are great, and the numbers back up certain things.
They do.
But let me ask you, when you hear John Olerud, now John Olerud, when he played like played was a little bit before my time, right? Like I was really young when he retired. I mean, I've seen a bunch of clips and all that, but I wasn't like into baseball when John Olerud was like playing the gist of his career. Was John Olerud like the guy you game planned against? Was John Olerud, did John, if he was, he was. I'm not saying
Olerud was,
dude,
he was not.
He was flirting with
250 career home runs.
Doesn't matter about home runs, dude. He was flirting with 400 for 3/4 of the season.
He's a 295 career hitter. So Olerud was a high average, a little bit of pop guy.
The point that I'm trying to make is regardless of what the WAR tells you, best 5 years, best 3 years, overall career, whatever.
Yep.
There is a reason that the American League and the National League right now have the designated hitter, and that reason is David Ortiz.
Correct.
That's David Ortiz changed baseball. If there was no David Ortiz doing what David Ortiz did in Boston for so long, you would still have the pitchers hitting in the National League. I have no doubt in my mind.
I agree.
That makes him a Hall of Famer.
So same argument with Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer is in the Hall of Fame because he was that guy.
Ortiz, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Ortiz statistically was never the best guy out there, but he is
most clutch, maybe not the best.
Exactly.
But I mean, let's put it this way. That's another conversation we can have another time. I bet you it's a lot closer than you're making it out.
David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame because of the impact he had in the window of time he had. He was one of the top 5 guys in baseball for 5 or 6 years, like clearly. And then he was decent on the other ends, but he was like the guy for a number of years. His playoff performances were legendary. Like he's in for that. The body of work, Todd Helton is substantially better. Olerud's better. But when you look at what they did in their prime and the impact they had on the game, and it goes back just like Mauer, how recognizable are you? How noteworthy are you? You don't put David Ortiz in the Hall of Fame, you lose your mind. But John Olerud doesn't go in, who was actually technically a more valuable player over the balance of his career. And even in his prime, he was more valuable because he did more things, but he didn't have that, it's not a sexy pick. Ortiz was a headliner and Olerud was a crazy good, solid baseball player.
Yeah, I would die on the hill of Ortiz. I think paring down David Ortiz to numbers, and that's what baseball is, and I get it. Like I know people are going to come at my head for this, but it's a sport. It's a team sport. In all team sports, it's more than just fucking stat sheet humpers. Like it's more than just numbers. Like it matter. Like the type of teammate you were matters. The things you did in clutch moments matter. And like Ortiz changed baseball.
He did.
He changed baseball. National League has a designated hitter right now because of David Ortiz. And I think Todd Helton is a Hall of Famer. I don't have issues with that. But I will put up a fight if somebody tries to tell me that that Todd Helton was just an overall better player because he had a better career batting average or a better career WAR. Like he's going to have a better career WAR. This guy he won Gold Gloves. Like it's and
he did everything. He did a lot of things.
He did everything. But if you tell me that I'm building a championship roster and I have an opportunity for David Ortiz or Todd Helton, sorry, Todd, it's not close.
Right. So that's my point. David Ortiz statistically is behind even John Olerud. But because of what he did and the impact he had on the game, it's a no-brainer. And I think Mauer falls in the same category. Do his stats jump off the page at you? No, but for 5 or 7 years, there wasn't a better catcher in baseball. Period. Yeah. And that's where if you look at this strictly based on the stats, you can argue this thing all kinds of directions. But you've got to take into context, the time they played, the impact they had, what they did, who they were, because it's not just a matter of dumping all the numbers in a spreadsheet and picking the best. Because you'd leave David Ortiz out, put John Olerud in, and think you did a good job.
Well, it's because that's what the stats would say, right? Tells you. Yeah, Excel tells you that, and it's just not the way it is.
Yeah, and John makes the point of he's one of the best all time in his position. Well, yeah, but he was a DH. Like DH is a less valuable position overall when it comes to measuring WAR and stats because they do one thing.
So let me ask you. We're going to switch real quick, just because we seem to be downplaying a position he played. Adam Vinatieri, Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Kicker. He didn't do much. All he did was kick.
Yep. And
even towards the tail end of his career, he didn't even do kickoffs. Right. So it's like, but he was
a decent period of time,
was the best at
He
what
was.
that position had to offer.
And the kicker's
So-
like the DH. You do one thing. Doesn't mean you're not a Hall of Famer. Doesn't mean you're not valuable. But you can't put Adam Vinatieri next to Tom Brady and say, well, they're both in the Hall of the same player. No, they're not.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
I
all
agree
I'm
with
saying.
that. If that's what you're saying, yes, I agree.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm not saying he's less valuable by being a
Okay.
DH. I'm just saying you can't, when you put a DH against a guy who is an elite first baseman and their numbers are the same, well, the first baseman gets the nod.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Fair.
I'm with you.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, Vinatieri and Tom Brady are not the same. They might both be in the Hall of Fame
No
or
arguments here.
going in the Hall of Fame, but
No
not the
arguments
same.
here on that. Okay, good.
Well then,
Yeah.
Sorry.
all right. It's all good.
dude,
I was
We
sitting
need to
back
come.
and
We need to
enjoying
come back to this in the off season and just do like all these different segments, picking this apart.
Man, I love it. Drop their grenade and walk away and let you two go at it. Love it.
Well, it's the same thing with closers. Like that's why closers have a tough time getting into the Hall of Fame. Like you literally came in and got 3 outs. Like, does it make what you do less valuable? Yeah, compared to a starting pitcher who won 300 games. Yeah.
So
but like you played an important role and did it really well.
all right. So here's the question: what is the benchmark? I know you hate this because it's an automatic.
I hate these. I hate picking numbers.
Automatic bid. But what is the amount of saves a closer needs to have an automatic bid to the Hall of Fame? You look at Hoffman, right?
God,
Hoffman's over 400. So Rivera and Hoffman are really the only like closers that are in there, right? I mean, Eckersley's in there, but he also started. You got Smoltz, like you know what I mean?
Also started.
Right. So what's the number that gives you like, you know, your 3,000 hit or 500 benchmark to get
Well,
in?
I mean, I think right now you got.
Oh, Hoffman's at 600. Sorry. Lee Smith's at 478.
Yeah, I was going to say you got 8 guys that have 400 or more, right? Mariano 652, Hoffman 601, Lee Smith 478, Kimbrel at 440, Kenley at 439, Francisco Rodriguez 437, John Franco 424, Billy Wagner 422. So those are your 400s.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like 400 has to be like an automatic pass. Like that's a lot of saves.
It is, but I think it's 450.
It
honestly.
probably is. But I mean, 400 is a good number. Like that's 10 seasons of 40. Like there's not a lot of guys that are going to get there.
No, I agree.
But at the same time, like you say 439, that makes Kenley Jansen a Hall of Famer. And I go, well, is he though? Like, is Kenley Jansen a surefire, no doubt Hall of Famer?
I think he is.
Is Kimbrel a no doubt Hall of Famer? Like,
yes.
God, there's no more frustrating closer to watch in the world than Craig Kimbrel.
Well, that doesn't
But
matter.
now-
but
I know,
that's
but
not,
early-
there's no pictures
I
in the
know.
scorecard, though. Like,
I
that
know.
shouldn't matter.
No,
Like,
but
this is where you're turning yourself into a writer, for Christ's
I know,
sake.
but like,
it shouldn't matter.
like,
if
when
he
I
got
think
the
about,
job
like-
done 450
I know,
times, he
when I
got the
think about-
goddamn job done.
when
It
I
shouldn't
think
matter.
about dominant closers, though, I don't think of Kimbrel. I think of guys that I think of heart attack closers.
Dude,
That's
how do
a
you
you-
not?
but
Kimbrel early
Harrison-
in
but
his
Harrison,
career, Kimbrel
that's
was
a you problem.
completely
I know that's a me problem. That's what I'm
That's a
saying.
you
I
problem.
think of him that way. Like I have a tough time seeing Kimbrel and Jansen in the Hall of Fame. Do they belong there statistically? Yeah, but like I just don't think of them as super high end elite guys. They are. I can't get over the hump.
Well, at least you're honest about it.
It is a me problem. I'm totally a me
at least
problem.
you're honest about it.
I just
I
don't
don't-
love those guys. I'm not gonna hide it.
Yeah, see, they were so dominant for
They were.
such a long stretch, and that's a game. They come out in the 9th inning, that's the game's over. It was Mariano Rivera with those two guys for a long stretch of time there. Like,
yeah,
I mean, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Wagner, K-Rod.
It's clearly a me problem. I'm totally willing to admit that.
Yeah.
Well,
A lot
you're
of
an
big names
anti-closer. I mean, again,
Yeah, I'm
you've
not a
been
big
so-
closer guy. Yes,
Right, but I will give you credit. You've been open about that since the jump. That like
Yep.
you're not a big closer guy.
I think it is an overrated position. Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, I've always said that. But
Yeah,
like at the
you
same
have.
time, like
You have.
Billy Wagner should be in the Hall of Fame.
So is the closer role the DH of the defense?
Yes. To me,
So then-
the
then
DH and the closer
then Ortiz
are the.
isn't in.
I'm not saying Ortiz shouldn't be in. I'm just saying you can't like. So you put Ortiz and a guy with similar numbers side by side, and that guy actually played solid defense. I'm taking the guy who can play defense too.
Okay, fair.
Okay, we've beat this one enough.
We have,
can
we
go
have.
back on this one. We beat this one enough. I was about to go another round, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We can get back at this one
All
another
right.
time.
There'll be plenty more rounds of this.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on. All right. Trade deadline rumors real quick. There are some rumors. I need another beer after that.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm driving Sean to drink. You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. So there's rumors flying around about Scooble here. The Orioles would have to give up a haul. I don't know if the Orioles would do this. The rumors out there are Jackson Holiday, Kobe Mayo, Connor Norby, who's disgusting, by the way, Kyle Stowers. They're all for the Norfolk Tides. That Norfolk Tide team is
So
a
good.
borderline MLB team right now. For them to give up those 4 prospects, and I don't think the Orioles would give up all 4 of those guys. Stowers and Norby, Stowers and Norby themselves are ridiculous prospects for Scooble. I don't know if the Orioles would pull the trigger on all 4 of those prospects, but would Scooble put the Orioles over the edge?
I mean, if I'm the Orioles, I'm doing whatever I can to get a hold of either Scooble or Crochet to try to bolster the rotation that where you've already lost Bradish, Means. You've got some holes there. I wouldn't give up all those guys, but I would certainly make a push because Scooble, you got 2 years of control. He's got 2 more arbitration years before he's a UFA in 2027. So he's not like a 1-year rental.
And I think that's why it would be such a haul to get him.
It's like when they traded Soto to the Padres, like because he had a couple years of control, you give up more for him. It's not like he's a rental.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. Like if I'm Baltimore, I'm seriously thinking about making that deal. Not a guarantee, but I'm having legitimate conversations. I recognize the importance of prospects, draft picks, building up a strong farm system, all that. But to me, there is no substitute, and this is like very Dombrowski of me. But there's really no substitute for proven major league talent.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I do love the idea of what all of those names in Norfolk can bring you. Kind of the next wave, as if you need a next wave. I mean, you're the youngest team in baseball right now, but this idea, but statistically, on average, you will have multiple guys of that group are going to fall on their face, and they won't work.
Right.
Yep.
Scooble is a proven major league talent many times over. You don't think he's proven? You don't think he's proven himself at the end of last year, how he ended last year, and what he's done this year?
I mean, you've got 3/4 of a season where he's proved it in 3 seasons.
Okay. Go ahead. Keep talking. I'm getting my stuff together here.
Well, yeah, I mean, to back Harrison a little bit, he thought he was a rookie for the longest time because he wasn't on the scene.
Okay.
I mean,
so we're talking about a guy, and again, it makes it so challenging. It makes it so challenging because it's such an individual team sport.
It is.
And if you are on a bad team, you can still put up good numbers, but like, how good can your numbers really be? You know, I mean, we have a guy here who his WAR is 9.6 for his career. Like, I have no idea off the top of my noggin right now where that stands for starting pitchers. I can't imagine that's like elite level WAR for a starting pitcher.
4.6 this year.
Yeah, right, for this year, but I'm talking career. His career whip, walks and hits per innings pitch, is 1.
Yeah.
This is not a guy who is just leaking base runners on. The problem that he has is he gets no run support because he is on a terrible team. You put him on a team that scores runs, and you get a guy who this year it's below 1. It's like 0.8, I think I just saw, right?
Yeah, he's 0.879.
0.879. I mean, you put a guy like this who is getting a lot of swings and misses, who is not putting guys on base, and you give him an offense, he's going to win 17, 20 games. Over 20 wins. To me, for a guy,
I don't think he's not a good pitcher, but if I'm going to give up every prospect I've got, this is his 5th year. Yeah, he's 5.63 ERA, 4.34 ERA, 3.52, and his last 30 starts have been good. Before that, he was, kind of average. So either he figured something out, and now this is who
Yeah.
he
So,
is.
but we're looking. Wait, he's 5.6, and then in 2021, 4.3, and then 2022, 3.5, 2023, 2.8, and now in 2024, so far it's a 2.4. What is the trend you guys are noticing? That's getting better every year.
Right.
On
But
a
he made
team,
15 starts. He made
on a team
21
that's getting
starts in
worse.
22 and 15 starts in 23.
I recognize that. But what I'm saying is when he's healthy and he is out there, he is
Yep.
getting better every year.
But what is the best? What is the best ability, Sean?
Availability. And I get that. He's not the perfect player. I'm not saying
No.
he's the perfect player. And I'm not saying I would do this deal in a heartbeat. I'm simply saying if I'm Baltimore and this guy does, I think for this year particularly, gets me over the hump and makes me a whole lot more comfortable going into the postseason, I seriously think about doing that deal.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I run the hard numbers.
Would you take the bargain and just get Crochet then, if that's what you're trying to do?
Well, that's where I think you've got to decide. Like, if you're going to go all in on a pitcher, who is it? I mean,
right.
Crochet's track record is not really any better. This guy has been
right.
nothing but
You're
hurt. So I think you've got two imperfect pitchers here that have crazy high upside. Who are you more comfortable leveraging the farm on? I don't know.
Or do you?
Like, or maybe. I mean, I think the Orioles need to do something.
I agree.
I think they need to do something because I think if you can't absorb the losses they've had, and hang on, especially when the Yankees have the easiest remaining schedule in all of baseball. Like the Yankees should have a monster second half, which they need because they were falling apart at the end of the first half. But the Yankees had a disastrous month to end it, and they were still only a couple of games behind you. That's how much better they can be.
Yeah.
You give them the softest schedule in the second half, and if you don't do something, they will leave you behind. Now, you can get in as a wild card, sure, but can you take them down head-to-head? Like, are you going to be able to take the Yankees down head-to-head, the Guardians down head-to-head? Guardians also have a crazy hard second half. We'll see where they end up. But, like, the Orioles, and Rubenstein has even said it, like, we're realistic that we can't keep this team together forever. Our window is small. We have to strike while we can.
Yeah.
I see him making a move because he knows he's going to have to. And I don't see them being afraid to dump prospects. I mean, they've mentioned they'll listen for offers for Jackson Holiday. They're not married to any of these prospects because there's friggin' 20 more coming.
Right.
And
20 already on the roster.
Right. And like Sean said, like they want proven major league guys to go make a playoff run. You don't want a bunch of young guys in the ALCS in a game 7. You want experienced guys who've been there. Like that's important.
Well, I want guys, and this is such a non-answer, but it's the only way I know how to say it with it making some semblance of sense. I want guys that I'm comfortable with that give me an opportunity to beat the team I'm going against. And if it is a bunch of young guys, then so be it. It's a bunch of young guys. But I'm not going to war with a bunch of young guys just because they are a bunch of young guys, if that makes sense. Right? Like if I have an opportunity to bolster my starting rotation, whether it's Crochet, whether it's Skubal or player XYZ, I don't know. But if I have an opportunity, I would be a fool not to run hard numbers on that. And if the difference between Skubal and Crochet is a lower level prospect, then I might think that's worth it. Mm-hmm. But like if the difference between Skubal is, 2 blue chip guys that are already in AAA, and then Crochet is, a couple of AA guys and 1 AAA guy, well, then that's a no-brainer.
Right.
I'm keeping. Do you know what I mean? Like I think it all depends on what we're looking at.
Yeah, it's all relative.
I think they would be fools to dismiss it off the bat.
Agreed.
Absolute fools for either one of these guys. These guys are animals, both of them. Yeah. And they do make you better. There's no question. Either one of them makes you a better team that puts you over the hump, I think, in the American League.
Yeah, there's not a better pitcher in the American League this season than Skubal. He is not a better pitcher in baseball, period, than Skubal.
I don't think so.
I mean, the dude he's clearly the best right now. You throw that guy into your rotation and you go into the playoffs with he and Corbin Burns at the top of it. I feel really freaking good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in 2 years, who knows what happens with Skubal? Anything can happen with Skubal. But if you're really looking at trying to capitalize on this window you've got with this young core that's cheap that you can still afford to do this with, then yeah, you go make that trade. And if you got to empty the farm system to go hang a pennant, then you friggin' do it.
All right.
Well, no. If I'm emptying the farm system,
giving it a ring.
Yeah, If
Yeah,
I'm
you're-
entering the
sorry,
farm
hanging a
system, it's
banner,
for
not a pennant. My bad.
Yeah,
I should-
it's
Okay.
the World
Yeah.
Series.
hanging a banner.
So to push us along here, the Cubs and the Reds are also selling. Justin Steele could also possibly be on the table here.
Yeah.
The Cubs said they're going to look forward to 2025. They've pretty much already thrown in the towel.
What
And
is Steele looking like contract wise?
I think he's starting towards the end of it
Hang
here.
on.
I was just looking at Hunter Greens from the Reds, but he's got control until 28.
So the easiest remaining schedule in all of baseball is the Cubs. They have taken their lumps. You got 3, so he's arbitration eligible for 3 more years. He's not a free agent until 2028. So Justin Steele is you go empty the farm system for him.
Yeah, and that's what he would take. He would take all 4 of those prospects.
He's making $4 million this year. Now you got to go to arbitration next 3 years. He's going to make more, but he'll still be cheap.
Yeah. But yeah, so Cubs and Reds are selling. They pretty much come out and said that they're listening to everything. But so we'll see.
Yeah, the Cubs. I mean, the Cubs have been a huge disappointment for a lot of reasons. But like, I don't know that they're as far out of it as they think they are. But I think they're also just trying to be realistic that we've got a window to reload and maybe go into free agency because we've got money. Maybe there's some guys that are worth dropping.
Yeah.
But like, you trade Justin Steele, that doesn't get you anywhere.
No.
Like, that to me makes no sense.
What if you're the Cubs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to rebuild without Justin Steele. Like, that would make no. Like, who you want to dump Bellinger? Sure, he's been a huge disappointment, as we said he probably would be. So yeah, he's probably going to go after the season anyways. You hope he's going to opt out and go try to get another contract. But with the season he's had, would he make more money? I don't know. I don't know that he would. He hasn't been like light the world on fire. He's been good, but he's not been he has not been the guy of last year.
No. All right. Well, speaking of trade deadlines and rumors, this week I have put together trivia of past trades, like deadline, off-season trades, and all of that. You guys have to identify who the key trade pieces were in these deals.
I'm gonna need your help here, Sean. I'm not gonna remember any of these.
So
I'll do my best, man. This isn't exactly my wheelhouse, but we'll see.
All right. So here we go. Here is the first one. Red Sox received Jason Bay. Pirates received Brandon Moss, Craig Hansen from the Red Sox, Andy LaRoche, and Brian Morris from the Dodgers. The Dodgers received who?
Manny. That was Manny.
Manny.
Yes. Yeah. Manny Ramirez. All right. Next one. Trade date was July 18th, 2018. Orioles received Valera, Diaz, Zach Pop, Dean Kremer, and Ryland Bannon. The Dodgers received who?
Is that the other Manny?
It is the other Manny.
Yeah.
And Manny Machado. Yeah. Good.
Go back to that return real quick. Yikes.
Nothing.
Yikes.
They got a big bag of nothing.
Dean Kramer was fine.
And Pop is in Toronto. Right
Pop's
now.
in, yeah, right. Right. I mean, Dean Kramer was fine.
Yeah, but not. Yeah, you didn't get.
No, of course not. I mean, it's Manny Machado. Yeah,
you didn't get
I'm
Jack
just saying.
from Manny Machado.
Yeah.
All right. Next
Hate
one.
that guy.
January 20th, 2023. Twins received Salas, Byron Churio, and who? And the Marlins received who?
So it's Pablo Lopez, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then
who the Marlins get?
Come on.
Arise. Luis Arise.
Yes.
Oh,
Luis
duh.
Arise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Duh.
Yeah. Pablo Lopez, Luis Arise.
Oh, good. We worked on that one together, Sean.
Yeah. Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
I
No, that was good teamwork.
Clearly could not pick up Luis Arise.
Well, the Arise one was easy for me. I couldn't think who was going the other way. So that's
Good. That's why we need to
hit
work
that
on
one
these
pretty
together.
Yeah. All right. Trade date February 1st, 2021. The Rockies got Gomber, Montero, Losi, Mateo Gil, and Jake Somers, and the Cardinals received.
Was that Arenado?
This one was Arenado. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot he went via trade.
Yeah.
Yep. For trade, Arenado. All right.
And what they got back was also a big bag of nothing.
Yep. All right. January 7th, 2021. Cleveland received Ahmed Rosario, Andres Jimenez, 2 big names there, Josh Wolf, and Isaiah Green. The Mets received
So
Lin-
Lindor and who?
Lindor and in the pitcher there. Was it Carrasco?
it was nice job,
Good
Sean.
Lord,
Yeah.
seriously?
Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco. Nice. Good work.
Yeah, like
All right.
Lindor, obviously, but like Carrasco, there's no way in a million years I'm getting that.
Yeah. Nice one. All right. December 28th, 2020, Cubs received Casey, Ishmael Mina, Reginald Preciado. I can't even read half these
Yeah.
names. Santana and Zach Davies. The Padres received Carantini and who?
We know who this is. It's you, Darvish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. Good call.
Yeah. But like that return again, holy cow.
Dude, I couldn't even read half the
Which
names.
guys, what's the theme
I know.
on all of
We're
these
making
trades?
your point, Sean. We're making your point.
Proven major league talent for
Yeah.
high-end prospects that
Yeah.
looks like didn't do shit.
You're
Like,
making my
proven
point.
major league talent wins out most of the time.
Moving on. All right. Trade date was
Oh, God,
December
Jay
3rd,
Bruce.
2018.
Oh yeah. so
Mariners
this is,
got Jay Bruce, Swarzak,
God.
Bautista, Dunn, and Jared Kelenic. The Mets received who?
Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz.
Yeah.
Talk about a trade.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
again. Oh, I wouldn't say Edwin Diaz. I don't know. I mean, he had that year before in Seattle where he was really good.
Yeah.
But he had a bit of a slower start to his career, if I remember correctly.
he did.
Like
He did.
it kind of took him a while to build up into becoming that kind of dominant guy.
Yeah, it took him some time. And then all of a sudden, like when it clicked, it clicked.
Didn't he have like 50 something that final year in Seattle?
He had a bunch.
Oh,
bro.
geez.
I'll
Yeah,
have
I
to look
think
that
so.
up.
Yeah.
I think he had around like 50. Let me look it up.
But go back up to the hall, Nick. Like Jay Bruce they dumped him. Jared Kelenic never. I mean, he's still around, but he never really became who he thought he became. The rest of the other guys, it's like who?
57 in 2018.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
57.
Dang. Crazy.
What a haul.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Trade date December 9th, 2015.
2015.
The
boy.
Braves received who? And then Ender Ciarte and Aaron Blair. The Diamondbacks received who from the Braves?
2015.
Oh boy.
10 years, bro.
This is a Braves centerpiece that signed somewhere else recently.
Oh, is this Swanson?
It is Swanson.
That's right. Dansby came
Oh,
over.
that's right, Arizona.
Yep.
Do you know who the Diamondbacks got back?
Not. I
Believe he's pitching for the Dodgers.
Was
right
Shelby
now.
Miller one of them?
It was Shelby Miller.
Oh,
Nice.
good
Yeah.
pull.
Thank you.
Yeah, Shelby Miller.
I forgot about Shelby Miller. He was.
For some reason, I was picturing him in a
Yep.
Braves cap.
Yeah,
Yeah, I knew it was a pitcher. I just could for the life of me, I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna be able to give you that name.
yeah, Shelby Miller. All right, next one. Trade date November 20th, 2013. The
Prince
Tigers. Dude, let me finish reading.
All right.
It's like, we all know this one.
Sorry, Nick. Sorry.
Yes, Prince Fielder.
We all know this one. Let's just get
Yeah.
right to it.
All right, goodness. All right, trade date February 16th, 2004. Yankees received Alex Rodriguez. The Rangers received who? Now, this was the famous trade that he was going to the Red Sox, but he was going to take a
Oh,
lesser
yeah.
deal, and the Union said no. So then the Yankees took on the contract. But then the Yankees sent who to the Rangers?
Oh my god, I have no idea.
Was it a pitcher?
Nope. He was a 40-40 guy.
Oh, Mark Teixeira. No, not Mark
Nope.
Teixeira.
No.
Jesus. Mark Teixeira played with him in New York.
Second base, outfield.
Yeah.
Oh, Soriano.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alfonso
Yep.
Soriano.
John got
Picture
that in the
his
chat.
face.
Yep.
Nice
Good
job,
one.
John.
Soriano.
John got that one
Good
in the
call.
chat.
Soriano.
I honestly could not remember for the life of me who went in that trade.
Yep. Alfonso.
I'm pretty sure
Soriano.
as a Red Sox fan, I just blacked it out because I was so mad they blocked him going to Boston.
Yeah, and they did the same thing with Teixeira a couple of years later, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball hates Boston.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, you put them in the biggest media market, make more money.
Yep. All right. Braves received Casey Kochman and Steven Merrick. The Angels received who? This was July 29th, 2008.
Oh boy.
I'll give you a hint. You literally just said his name.
Yeah, Mark Teixeira. Yeah.
It is Mark Teixeira.
Oh,
yeah.
right. I forgot about Teixeira going.
I was thinking when you put that up, I was like, I think that's Mark Teixeira again. Like, I think.
Yeah, Mark Teixeira.
How long was he in Anaheim? It wasn't long, was it?
No, I might have only been that half a year or 2 years.
Only 1.5 years, I think, because then after that season is when he signed in New York.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So, yeah. All right. Mariners received Freddie Garcia, Carlos Guillen, and a player to be named later. The Astros received who? And this was July 31st, 1998.
Mariners.
Garcia again.
And this is not a very big haul for who they got.
Nope. I was gonna say Randy, but no.
You know what's funny?
Is it Randy?
Randy Johnson.
I was just about to say Randy Johnson. Absolutely.
I felt like that was so much later. I'm like, no, it's not him.
Randy Johnson. I always forget he pitched for the Astros.
I know. I'm looking at that going, I think that's Randy, but I feel like that's not right.
Yep, Randy Johnson. Crazy.
Yeah, that's a pretty good return for them.
Indians received Matt Laporta, Zach Johnson, Rob Bryson, and Michael Brantley. Who was the player to be named later? It's crazy. The Brewers received who? This was July 7th, 2008.
You want this one, Harrison?
Oh, no, you got it.
CC.
Yeah, CC Sabathia.
And then they ran him into the ground.
Yes,
the Brewers
they did.
Pitched like 250 innings in half a season with them. Like they just ran him into the ground.
Well,
they're like, we're not signing this guy, so we might as well just run him.
Was that the season he led both leagues?
And shutouts.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah, he was.
And to his credit, he didn't want to come out.
No,
he was like, "I'll keep going." Yep. I mean, to give him credit, but he was their horse.
Yeah. Oh man, they rode him like a friggin' quarter horse.
All right, here we go. MLB trivia time. Who was the last player to win MVP that did not hit 300 or 30 home runs or drive in 100 runs that year, excluding 2020?
What?
Was it American League or National League?
Well, it's got to be a pitcher then, right? So is it Verlander?
No, it's National League. It's a position player.
All right.
So MVP, not 300, no 30 homers, no 100 stakes. Jesus Christ. Me? I mean, who the hell wins MVP with those shitty numbers?
One of the most iconic home runs in World Series history.
Fisk? No, not
no.
Fisk.
For the Dodgers.
Gibson.
Oh, Gibson.
Gibson in 1988.
No kidding. Yeah. What was his numbers?
I didn't look it up.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's fine. I'll look him up.
I got
it. Yeah.
Morneau's a good guess, but I'm pretty sure Morneau hit like 330 something the year he won MVP, didn't he?
Oh, probably.
Yeah. So his MVP
he may not have
season.
had the home run. He may not have had the home run or RBI numbers. I'm pretty sure he hit like 340.
Yeah. So Gibson that year hit 290, 25 home runs, 76 RBIs, 377 OBP, 483 slugging. It not like a banner season.
Yeah.
What year was that?
31 steals. It was an
88.
Played 150 games. Like not a super exciting season.
Crazy.
All right. So Darryl Strawberry was in second place, and he hit 39 homers, 101 RBIs, led the National League in slugging and OPS. What the hell were they smoking? How does Kirk Gibson win that?
Yeah. And then Morneau's year, 2006, he hit 321 with 34 and 130.
Yikes.
Like, that's what you expect from an MVP.
Yeah, right. Okay. So
Crazy.
he did have those. I mean, I knew he had the average numbers. I didn't know about the power numbers, but
yeah. My God. That's
crazy.
That's like a that's a shocking. That's a shocking MVP win.
That's a tough one.
Who'd he pay off?
Sweet mustache, though.
Oh, wicked
For
sweet.
sure. All right, next one. Who tallied the least amount of hits?
Gibson?
119. Who tallied the least amount of hits? 119 of anyone to win an MVP award. Now remember, the background always a clue to which team.
Is it a pirate or an A?
It's a pirate. A's are usually
He usually rocks the Kelly Green for the A's.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh boy.
left field, first baseman.
Oh, Stargell.
It is Willie Stargell.
I was going to guess
1979.
him like that can't be right.
Yeah, 1979. Crazy.
Dear God.
119 hits, wins the MVP.
Yeah, what
Probably
happened back then?
Probably a lot of
118
home
of them
runs.
were homers. Yeah,
Yeah, I was just gonna say he probably had like 60 homers.
yeah. Crazy. All right, who was the last relief pitcher to win the Cy Young Award?
Saberhagen?
No.
Did he ever win a Cy Young? Brett Saberhagen?
Yes,
Pretty sure he did.
because it was like back in 89 or 90.
Yeah.
Was it
something like
Gagne?
that. It was Gagne.
Yeah, so-
Nice, good call.
Pretty sure
2000.
Gagne in that streak. So I got Stargell stats up here. So that MVP season, he played in 126 games. He hit 281 with 32 and 82.
So
But in 126 games, like
32
Yeah,
homers in the 70s.
John's
with it.
pumped about Gagne because
Yeah,
that
it's a
was
good one.
that was my 3-out pitcher too, and he was pumped about that. So
Yeah. I mean,
I
dude,
mean,
what was it?
Gagne was
84? 84 consecutive?
84 in a row.
Insane.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And then
crazy.
came to Boston and forgot how to pitch. Wow.
Oh, it was bad. Oh my God.
Oh god. All right. Who was the last Cy Young Award winner to have a higher batting average than that year's home run leader?
Oh, it's probably like Rick Porcello. Was it Rick Porcello?
No.
Oh.
Back a little ways. Phillies pitcher.
Carlton?
Yes, good.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
1982.
right, because that was the Kingman year. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he hit 218. Kingman hit 204.
That's sad.
Kingman hit some bombs though, dude. That
Yes,
guy hit
he
like he's
did.
got like a number of 500 plus footers on his resume.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hit big boy home runs.
I was like, I've brought this up before, but like MLB Network had like the top 20 games of all time, and number 20 was like the Cubs and Phillies game that was like 26-24.
With the wind and all that shit.
Yeah, it was like blowing out like 30 miles an hour, and Kingman hit like 3 home runs that day that were like infield pop-ups, but they just traveled like 600 feet because the wind was just blowing straight out. It was awesome, like absolutely crazy.
Oh God.
But all right. Next one. Which manager has over 1,000 wins but has the lowest winning percentage, below 500?
Bud Black.
It's a good guess, but not him.
That was going to be my guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh God.
So
1,000 wins. That's a lot of wins.
Brewers and Royals, I would say you know this guy from. Ran out of HGH.
Ned Yost.
It is Ned Yost.
Oh, Yost, good pull.
Yeah,
Thank you.
473 was his winning percentage for over 1,000 games. So he lost well over 1,000 as well.
Well,
Crazy.
because those teams stunk. He was
Yeah.
managing just awful teams for a long
Yeah.
time. I mean, Bud
What's
Black
that
will
say
be there
about
one
him?
day.
Like, what's that say about you? Yeah, you've won. Like, you've been just at the helm of a lot of bad baseball teams. Like, Jesus Christ.
All right, next one. Which manager had the
Oh.
fewest career wins, 92, at the time they won the World Series?
Got to be Bob Brentley.
It is Bob Brentley.
Good old Bob
He
Brentley.
looks like Bill Cowher.
He totally
He
does
totally
too.
does.
Yeah. Until I see them in the same room, I'm not convinced they're not the same guy.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like Pete Davidson and Christian Yelich for me.
Yeah, but there's a difference. Like Bob Brentley is
Bill Cowher.
Bill Cowher. Look at him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I
But
can't even argue.
You can't.
it's awesome. All right, this is a layup if you're just a average baseball fan here. But which player has played the most career games?
Pete.
Yeah, Pete
So
Rose.
it's Peter Ricky.
Yeah,
You can guess
3,000
those guys for anything.
3,562 games played.
Jesus, Houck is getting his teeth kicked in by the Rockies right now.
Well, that's after Cutter Crawford got lit up by the Dodgers.
It's Coors Field, man. I'm telling you. That's why Helton's not a Hall of Famer. Anyways, moving on. All right. Who was the last player to have his father as manager?
You got it, Harrison?
Griffey, right?
No, the
No.
Alus.
Oh, that's right. The Alus.
Yeah.
The traveling
Moises
Alus.
Alou played for Felipe and the Giants. 2005 is the last time that has happened. So that is our trivia for this
Love
week.
the Alus.
Oh, so Bud Black's now 466. So he's
Bud Black's career record is 1161, 1333 for a 466.
when did he reach his 1000th win? Oh, a while ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. With the number of games they win, it's been a few years.
So he's, yeah. Well, anyways, so whatever. It was off by 100th of a point. Probably rounded up.
It's fine. Ned Yost is still a great pull.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, all right. We have some things to. Oh, we still got this. Let's do this real quick.
Oh, no.
We got our current all first name B teams. So let's start right behind the dish like we always do. Who do you guys got?
I got Buster Posey. I think when it comes to B, it's that for me is the automatic.
I like that. Buster's a good one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, I have Benito Santiago,
who's a legend in his own right, but
yeah, but
I'll take Buster.
I think it's Buster Posey
Yeah.
for sure. First base, who you got?
I copped out and took Bryce Harper. I mean,
I did too.
There's just not a lot of great options. Brandon Belt was one, and I'm like, meh.
Double points.
I mean, good point.
You don't get double points. Like, where did you make this double points roll up?
Benji Molina. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Benji
Benji behind the
Molinas,
dish.
yeah.
I'll still take Buster, but that is a good pull.
Nice job, John. I like that one.
Dude, if you use B first and last name, you get double points.
Double points.
The points don't matter anyway, Sean.
It's just thank you.
The points don't matter.
Anyways, baseball style.
Okay. So second base, to continue my double point streak, I'll go with Brett Boone.
I took Brandon Phillips because I just really enjoyed watching him play when he was at his peak.
Yeah. Brian Dozier, I think, could sneak his way into the conversation as
could
well.
hit some bombs.
Had some
Yeah,
pop.
I think Brian Dozier could sneak his way in. I don't know if I'd take him like outright over the guys you mentioned, but I think it would be a closer conversation if we dug into it.
Yeah, I considered taking Bobby Alomar. I wasn't sure if that was going to qualify or not, but
I love all the comments.
it
They're
to
like there's like when we did the R's last week, they're like for DH I would take Rohei Rohani. It's like, well,
double points.
Yeah.
You sir win.
But I have Brian Roberts as another name there at second base.
He was underrated guy for the Orioles. He
Yeah.
did a lot of
Brian
good
Roberts
things
is a
for
good
them.
one.
Yeah. I also, just to throw names on there, I had Brandon Inge, I had Bill Miller, but not, I mean, top of the line second baseman. I think Brandon Phillips is my guy there too, to be completely honest.
Yeah, that's a good one. Brandon Phillips was legit.
Yep. Third base.
Third base, I was a homer and I took Bill Miller.
Oh, all right.
So,
I took another Miller, but I took Brad Miller just because I could put him in any position I
In
wanted.
literally every position anywhere.
there's nowhere that man did not play.
And for a guy that would just go up there with high socks and bare hands and like not a very big guy, dude, he had some pop. He could hit.
He had such good hands. His hands through the zone were insane.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I
took
agree.
Brad Miller there. All right, shortstop. Who are you taking here?
Double points. I took Bo Bichette.
Oh, okay. I got two. And I got a Hall of Famer and a future Hall of Famer. I got Barry Larkin and I got Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, I figured you were taking Larkin, and I was like, well,
Barry Larkin's a hard one to go against. Yeah,
it is. Barry Larkin's the choice.
We do this 3-4 years from now, it might be Bobby Witt, but right now it's got to be Barry Larkin.
No, I think Larkin is the choice. I took my double points with Bo Bichette.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Bobby Witt's my guy, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's everyone's guy right now.
Real quick, I told Nick, I'll tell you, Harrison, real quick. So right before the All-Star break, Kansas City was in Boston. And so Bobby Witt Jr., his dad, like grew up in Canton.
Yep.
Went to Canton High, like with, my dad was like right around similar years. And so my mom and dad and like a few Canton people ended up going into the game. And so I was talking to my mom the night before. It was when they played Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
And I was talking to my mom Saturday night, and I was like, "What are you guys doing this weekend or tomorrow, whatever?" She's like, "Oh, Dad and I are going to the Red Sox game." I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's fun." Like, my mom's not a huge baseball, like, but whatever.
Yep.
She's like, "Oh, like the whole Whit thing." I was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that." And she like paused, and she was like, like Bobby's kid plays for Kansas City." And I was like, "Yeah, Mom, I know who he is." Like, he's one of the best players in
Yeah,
baseball.
I've heard of
Like,
him.
I know who he is. Yeah, thank you. It was so funny.
It's
She was
such a
like, "Oh, I was
mom
trying to
thing.
help. I was
Such a
trying to
mom
help." I
thing
was like,
too.
"I know
Well,
who he
you
is."
know,
Yeah, it's so funny.
that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. The 3 outfield spots.
I took this guy with the last name of Bonds. I'm pretty sure it was
He's okay.
Barry Bonds. I think he
Yeah.
was all right.
Also double points.
All
Yep.
double points.
Well,
Bobby Bonilla.
it doesn't fit unless if it's Lamar.
What?
Stop.
It,
Stop.
just kidding.
That's
That's his middle name.
Yeah,
Lamar.
I took Barry Bonds, I took Bobby Abreu, and I took Brian Giles.
Oh, Brian
Bobby
Giles.
Abreu's a good one. Bobby Abreu's a
Mhm.
really good
Kind
one.
of an underrated guy.
Yeah. Talk
I'm
about
gonna-
how to hit bombs too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bend the rules here a little bit and say a
Shocking.
healthy Byron Buxton.
I didn't even go near him. I'm like, nope, not gonna do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I mean, if he's healthy, he's
Triple
up there.
points will go bionic Byron Buxton.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. But some other names. I mean, it's Barry Bonds, Bobby Abreu. I completely forgot about Brian. I had Brian Giles, but forgot how good he was there for a stretch.
He was.
And then his brother Marcus Giles, little second baseman there.
He's
Yeah.
another good player.
Braves, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had Billy Hamilton for the Reds there. Little speedy.
Speedster. Yep.
Yeah,
Speedster.
get some speed on the bench.
Yep. A little BJ Upton. And then another BJ Surhoff.
Oh yeah, nice Baltimore guy.
So
Yeah.
another name I thought of during this exercise was Brady Anderson, because I remember the 50 home run season.
Yeah.
But outside of the 50 home run season, there was really nothing to report.
Yeah. All right. DH.
I'm going double points for Billy Butler.
Oh,
Oh,
Billy Butler's a great one.
I love the clip of him getting into it with the catcher, then hitting a bomb in Cleveland and like completely making it a moment.
Billy Butler's
Yeah.
a really good one.
That was a great one.
Him and Sweeney together, they were a lot of fun to watch in their prime.
In
Yeah.
KC.
I mean, I had pretty much, we've said everybody's name that I have in my DH spot. Brandon Belt, Bo Bichette, Brian Giles. I also have Brandon Crawford as my backup shortstop there.
Yeah.
But
All right.
I mean, he's no Barry Larkin, but it's a good.
Yeah. Well,
it's definitely a good like consolation to have it short for sure.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that works.
he's a bench player.
Yep.
So, all right, starting rotation.
So my starter is Barry Zito.
Bob Gibson. Oh, he didn't throw the 2000s though. Yeah, that's right.
But it would be a great
he
choice.
He probably could have.
he easily not probably.
Yeah.
He easily could.
You could-
Yeah, Zito's a good one.
You don't want the round mound of sound?
Bartolo.
I honestly
Hard to
I wrote
believe.
him
He might be
down,
my
but I
DH.
crossed him out.
He's
I'm like,
my
no, I
DH.
can't
He's
do
your
it.
DH, dude.
He's my DH. He's got a home run under his belt.
Yeah,
He's my
that's true.
DH.
Yeah.
So I
The only
had
thing to
Barry
keep under his
Zito.
belt.
I also have Ben Sheets,
Ben Sheets was a good pick.
and
He
then
at his prime, he was
Bronson
he was good.
Arroyo. Bronson
I have,
Arroyo could
I
make the
have
cut.
Bronson. I
And
have
he can
Bronson
sing.
on
Bronson
there.
could make the cut.
Yeah.
Would
I
you
also
say he can
have-
sing?
and he can sing it. You don't own his CD, Sean? Come on.
I put this
No
name
idea.
down because this kid's career just got cut short on an unfortunate on the field accident. And that's Bryce Flory.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
But
that
He
was a
was-
tough one.
that was nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. But all right. So yeah, I'm going Ben Sheets there. Barry Zito, best curveball
Oh my
probably
god,
ever.
amazing to watch.
Nuts. Wiffle ball.
I
out there.
used to when I was a kid, obviously, as kids do, you watch like Red Sox games on TV and you see curveballs and it looks like they're just looping them in.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember watching a Red Sox game with my dad one time and I'm like, why don't they just swing at them? Like it looks like you'd lob, like when my
Yeah.
dad would like lob in like bang press. I'm like, just swing at it. So Barry Zito came into Fenway, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks later. My dad was there with a couple of buddies, like pretty much behind home plate, not like the first row, but like right there. Back with like camcorder. So he brought like this camcorder. He took a video of it. like real speed, and he brought it home, and he was like, "You want to just swing at that?" And I was like, "No,
No,
I can't.
no
do it.
shot.
No.
I
Just
do
ridiculous. Like real speed, like not like TV camera, like
not. I'm
insane.
gonna leave the bat on my shoulder and let it go.
Yeah,
by.
like this insane.
Yeah.
Thing broke like 12 feet.
Aaron Seeley had another great one. I know
Seeley.
we don't
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
Aaron Seeley
Yeah.
had a great curveball.
that big 12-6 breaker.
Yep. Adam Wainwright, all those guys,
Mm.
big Uncle Charlie's. All right, relief pitcher. I got a couple here.
I got one I think you guys are gonna like. I went with Byung-Hyun Kim.
Yes, you have to.
Yes, BK Kim, baby.
Yeah, I have him there. I'm getting double points for this one, but Brad Boxberger.
Oh, stop. You and your
Brad
double points.
Boxberger.
Yeah. Who?
You wouldn't take Brad Boxberger. Get
No,
the hell out of here.
I had BH Kim, but if it was Zito and San Fran, you could probably hit it.
Well, I mean, can you think about it? Like the A's had Hudson, Mulder, and Zito. Hudson went on to have success when he left. Like Mulder was pretty good in St. Louis. He was good in St. Louis for a little while, then fell off. And then Zito really fell off, probably the fastest of them all. And once that curveball didn't work, nothing worked.
Yeah. All right, who's your closer? I mean, I think it's kind of
Billy Wagner.
Yeah,
It
I
kinda
haven't.
has to be, right?
I have Billy Wagner's my number one, but I have Billy Koch too.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
with the crazy
Another
little
Oakland guy.
friggin' hair
Yeah.
thing on his chin.
Yeah,
That
but
dude was
yeah, I
also
mean,
nuts.
it's
That's
definitely-
a good one.
That
That's
is a good one.
You forget about him. I
Yeah.
certainly do.
but it's Billy Wagner for sure. But
Well, it's like you think about the A's that in that stretch, like you brought in, you also had like Houston Street, like you rolled a bunch of good closers through Oakland in that stretch of time.
Dude, you rolled good closers. You rolled good starters.
Well, you rolled every- yeah, they were-
like they just rolled good players. They just
Yeah,
gave them away
they-
for free.
yeah,
They were the
Matt-
Rays of
yeah.
the Rays before the Rays.
Yeah. Who else? Matt Chapman. I
Matt
mean,
Chapman,
you just
Matt Olson.
everybody. Josh Donaldson. You
Sean
just-
Murphy,
Tejada,
Sean Murphy. Yeah.
Miguel Tejada,
the
God.
Giambis.
Ramon
Yeah.
Hernandez.
It's like, God,
I mean, just keep going. Like it's
They
ridiculous.
they just rolled really good young players. They was like, oh, you guys want
They-
him? That's cool. You can have
They
him.
were the best.
Johnny Damon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. They just kept going. But like they were like the development team for the rest of the league. Like they just brought up amazing young player after amazing young player, and then shipped them out.
Unbelievable.
Like they
Crazy.
just printed young all stars.
So that was our
Is there
all-time. Yep. God dang, man.
They
So
just
many.
keep coming.
So many.
Good.
Oh,
Adley Rushman.
It might as well be.
Goodness gracious. All right.
Ricky.
Yeah. All right. So that was our current all first name B team. So hope you guys enjoyed that. So we do have some news to wrap up the show here. St. Pete approved the $1.3 billion stadium for the Rays. So they're getting out of the trop probably somewhere in the next however long it takes to build that monstrosity. But it's going to be pretty much in the same area. But they got approved for a new stadium. Thank God, because that stadium needs to wash away in the Atlantic. It's bad. It's bad.
Oh God.
No Major League Baseball field should be affected by a catwalk. I'm sorry. It
Well, it's like-
shouldn't.
Sean, you would have loved this. We were laughing during the home run derby. You know, they obviously haven't had an all-star game at the Trop because it's a dump. And like, could you imagine having to like mark off catwalks for a home run derby there?
I hate that place. I despise that place.
That place is such a dump.
And it's like baseballs are white and you have a white ceiling. Like I mean, like, are we thinking this through at all? Like it's
No.
just the whole thing was just so horrible.
It was all an afterthought. but
Yeah.
yeah, could you imagine a home run derby there having to mark off catwalks for how to score them all? Like, forget it.
If it hits the third panel past the catwalk,
I
that
mean-
will be.
It's literally it's like playing backyard baseball. Like, hey, if you catch that tree branch and it might have made it out, that
Yeah,
counts.
right.
But
Yeah.
it's like, come on.
Absolutely nuts. All right, MLB announced that the Dodgers and the Cubs are going to open in Tokyo next year. So Otani, Yamamoto, Imanaga, and Suzuki will all have homecomings. I think it's kind of cool for MLB to do that, to be
yeah.
completely
it
honest.
is.
So it's pretty cool.
I mean, if you're gonna send teams over there, you might as well send teams that are gonna market well over there.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know?
And it'll be in the Tokyo Dome. So I mean, it's going to be awesome.
And look at all the talent you have now to utilize. Like you've had all these players come over that have done really, really well. Why
Yeah.
not take advantage of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yordan Alvarez hit for the cycle this week. Actually, yesterday. Was it yesterday he did it?
Maybe yesterday. Yeah.
I think, yeah. All my
Yeah.
days are blurring together.
Yeah, I'm
But-
pretty sure. Yeah, it was yesterday. I think because it was a day game.
Yeah, capped off the cycle with a double down the right field line. So, never thought I would ever say that Yordan Alvarez legged out a triple, but evidently he did. So,
He's an
Well,
animal.
he didn't
Good for him.
really
He is.
leg it out. Like J-Rod caught it, hit the wall, dropped it, busted up his leg. Like it wasn't. I mean, he legged it out. Yeah, only because J-Rod was laying on the warning track in agony while the ball rolled away
Yeah, he's
Wow.
no Ricky.
after he caught it and then dropped it when he hit.
well, it counts.
It counts.
So,
And J-Rod came out of that game. I didn't see what the prognosis was on him, but he hit that wall hard, took a whole chunk of the padding out.
nice. Well, speaking
Well,
of,
he's undergoing an MRI in his right ankle. So
well, that's not good.
That's not good. He's day to day as they figure out what it is. It's not broken. X-rays are negative, but they're getting an MRI.
That's good. Well, speaking of injuries, Ozzy Albies fractures his wrist again. This happened last year. It happened again this year. I think a runner ran into it, or it was on a tag or something. I didn't see the play, but he breaks his wrist again. Now, this is the crazy part. The Phillies released Whit Merrifield. The Braves signed Whit Merrifield. And then he injures his finger during pregame today. His first game that he would have played with the Braves, injures his finger, and he's day-to-day. So is the second base position for the Atlanta Braves cursed?
Yes.
Yes. It would seem that way. And
No.
so the one of the headlines, and people are going nuts on Facebook today. Whit Merrifield day to day with finger injury after signing Braves contract. People are like, he got hurt signing the contract. No, he did not hurt himself signing the contract.
Dude, imagine that.
It was funny. People were like, doing what they do. The internet does what it does, but
Yeah. Dude, slip a tendon signing a contract.
yeah, he hurt his
John.
finger signing the contract. But I mean, can you
God.
imagine like you
That'd be a
finally
Chris Sale move though.
you
Chris Sale in Boston. At
Oh
least.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You get like a decent second baseman to fill in, and like immediately hurt. Like doesn't even take the field yet, and he's already hurt.
Crazy. Yeah. So that's all I had for tonight. Do you guys have anything else to throw in there before we wrap it up?
Oh, I got a couple things for you.
He
All
always
right.
does.
Let's hear it.
Well, so the first one I think is good news. Mike Trout is set to begin a rehab assignment. So he is heading out to. So he's heading out to AAA in the next couple of days to start to work his way back. Everything with what he's done so far has been good, so he's going to go out and test it on the field. We were talking about the Mariners last week and how kind of horrendous their offense has been. They actually charted on Saturday. They charted the Mariners offense when they scored, I think it was 1 run against the Astros. There were 15 fastballs down the middle in the little middle square. They missed all 15 of them. It was either swings and misses or foul balls. 15 fastballs down the middle. Every single one of them missed.
And they just designated, or did they designate Ty France for assignment, or just outright release? I think they just outright released him. Ty France is available for any team to pick up.
It was a shame. It's like 2 years ago. I mean, this guy was I wouldn't call him a force, but
No,
I mean, he
but-
was a legitimate,
Offensive threat.
in the American League, not just for that team. And I remember
Yeah.
the big thing on him is he was one of the best breaking ball hitters in baseball. It's like, yeah, but if you can't hit a fastball, what good is it? Like no one gonna be throwing you breaking balls if he's gonna buzz it right by you.
Right.
Yeah,
That's tough.
when you get one hit by the Astros and get 15 fastballs down the middle, you don't hit a single one of them. Like their offense is pretty atrocious, as we've been saying all offseason and all season. But it's tough. It's tough to watch them.
Yeah. And the Astros took over first place too, right?
They did. The Astros I get the Mariners won yesterday, so I think they're now like a percentage point over them. But the Astros, who a lot of people left for dead, we kept saying they're coming.
Mhm.
Well, they're there, and they're playing really well.
Crazy.
And then lastly, so the MLB strength of schedule for the rest of the season came out. Your 10 teams of the hardest remaining schedule: Rays, Guardians, Rockies, Marlins, Phillies, Red Sox, Pirates, Blue Jays, Royals, Mets. Those are the teams with the 10 hardest remaining schedules.
Doesn't the Rockies always have the hardest schedule?
It doesn't matter who they play. It's a hard schedule. But what's interesting to note is Guardians, who got off to that crazy good start, they have the second hardest remaining schedule in all of baseball. Phillies, fifth hardest remaining schedule in all of baseball. Red Sox, sixth hardest remaining schedule in all of baseball. These are teams that have had stretches where they've been utterly dominant, and some of that may have been schedule driven. Some of it may have been that they're really that good. But as these teams get into the second half with these much harder schedules, you're going to see who they really are and where they really end up finishing. Do I think that Philly falls out of first place? No. But do they keep running away with it? Maybe not. I guess we'll see. Your 10 easiest remaining schedules, the Cubs have the easiest, followed by the Padres, the Mariners, the Rangers, the Yankees, Angels, Braves, Orioles, Reds, Brewers. So you have a lot of teams that are in the race that are either in good position or trying to get in a good position that have a really soft schedule. So this could be an interesting second half of the season with some of these playoff battles where you've got like the Phillies with one of the hardest schedules remaining and the Braves one of the easiest ones. You know, how far can they close the gap? Yankees and Orioles both have relatively easy schedules. Red Sox have a very hard one. So I'll be curious to see how it all finishes. But
yeah, if you're the Red Sox, I think you look less at New York and Baltimore and look more at like the Kansas Cities.
Exactly.
Right. Like in Kansas City, you had on the list of challenging schedule. Along with
they've
Red
got the
Sox.
ninth hardest schedule remaining.
Yeah. And the Sox are the sixth. I mean, I think that's really kind of what you're going to be looking at is, like that battle. I mean, obviously I would love to see the Red Sox go on a run and push it but it ain't going to happen. It's more about like just, tread water, win some games that you have to, grind your way through some series, and see if you can edge out Kansas City there for that wild card spot.
Yeah.
Well, that NL wild card race could be wild coming down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
It could be.
There really could be so many teams so close. I mean, there's still so much baseball left, but I mean, it seems like almost everybody in the NL is still in for a wild card. Yeah.
And your three easiest schedules to date, Phillies have had the easiest schedule, Guardians second, Dodgers third. So like definitely aided by the schedule to a certain extent, but really good teams. But as these things begin to balance out with this balanced schedule, it should be a fun second half to see if some of these races get tight.
Yeah. Crazy.
So I dropped the link in the chat so you can see at the top it's remaining schedule, at the bottom it's schedule so far. You can see where the teams fall, but it's interesting to keep an eye on that because it's not just how you're playing right now, but also what's coming. What does that second half look like? That'll determine playoff races.
Yeah, we'll see. We got 9 days to the deadline.
Yeah, it's coming up fast, and there's still a lot of teams in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm hoping next week we're talking about some rumors, but who knows?
This is what baseball wanted too by adding that extra wild card spot. More teams are in it. This is what they wanted. They wanted more teams in it, making some deals coming down to the end of July. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm hoping that we get some movement because the last couple of our last couple trade deadlines have been kind of lackluster in terms of star power.
Yeah, for sure.
Dang. All right. Anything else?
No, I just think that's the danger of adding that other wildcard spot is you're hoping to kind of push some more movement, but what you end up having at times is teams going, well, I'm a half game out with the team that I currently have. Do I want to give up pieces? It's more like, kind of dance with the person you brought here.
Yep.
So I don't know. I hope we see some movement, certainly with those kind of pitchers we talked about earlier today too, though, like Crochet, Skubal, Steele. Like I'd be interesting to see if those guys kind of get moved, and what the haul would be for that. And hopefully we get at least one of them. I'd like to see at least one give us something to talk about.
I think all the top of the line teams will make a move, like whether it's small or big or whatever.
Yeah.
My interest really is to see what you guys are kind of just talking about. Which bubble team will make a deal to try to get them over the hump? Like, will the Red Sox address their lack of right-handed hitting? Will the Royals grab another bat, another starter? Like, will those teams that are right on the cusp of the playoffs, will they make a little bit of a deal? A Doug Mankiewicz, Dave Roberts type deal to just get them over the hump. Will they do it? I don't know. But that's where I'm kind of like interested because
Sure.
the Yankees are going to do something. The Orioles have to do something. So I'm more interested in those middle tier teams to see which ones are like, we really want to compete this year, or we're just going to let it ride Red Sox way.
Yeah. So if you guys have seen the headlines from today, apparently the Red Sox players have been very vocal with Cora and Breslow that they expect the team to make moves. They're on the bubble. They want to see the team make moves. And then 2
Kings
hours
of
ago,
interest. They're interested in.
Yeah.
Kings of interest.
Oh, that's the thing. And then 2 hours ago, it came out that basically Breslow and Henry said, we really don't have a plan for the All-Star break. We're not thinking we're going to be buyers or sellers.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah. So it's like,
Duh.
wow. So earlier this morning, it was the players are adamant they got to make a move.
Facts.
2 hours ago, it's the ownership group basically saying, yeah, we don't really have a plan. We don't think we're going to do much.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
So
you're right. It's not up to Cora, but
no, it's not up to Cora. But I mean, I think Cora's got to be frustrated that they're on the bubble and they're going to get nothing.
Well, that was part of the beef last year, wasn't it?
It was. He thought they hung him out to dry.
Yeah. So, like, I don't want to be a manager that doesn't have an organization that doesn't want to make my team better.
Yeah, I think Joshua's correct. I think that Cora is a lame duck. I think he's out of here. I don't think he wants to stay.
I don't think so. I don't think he wants to be a lame duck as much as the organization is hamstringing him.
Yeah, if I'm him, I don't want to be here to continue to just exist. Like, I want to win. And if I can't do that here, then I'll look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because this ownership group has not shown much of a commitment the last 2 years.
Well, it's because they're committed to 8 other organizations.
Well, and they're reaping the profit from the Red Sox and using it to buy the PGA Tour. And now they're making a bid for the Celtics. And, the Red Sox are an ATM to them.
Yeah.
And it's a really good ATM.
Crazy. All right. Anything else before we listen?
Dude, don't tease me. Don't tease us.
I have been
got to get Nick going.
For him.
Yeah, don't tease us with Veritek. We need to go, Nick. We'll be
favorite MLB player of all time, dude. I would love to see him on the bench in that organization.
Yeah.
But
yeah, if he wants it, I'd love to see him.
Absolutely. But all right. Last time here. Got anything else, fellas?
No, we're good.
I'm good.
All right. Keep your eye on the page this week. Like I said, I'm going to the Yankees game tomorrow night. I'll be at the Mets on Thursday, Phillies on Friday. I am pumped. I'm beyond pumped. So I will be pushing out reels and photos and all that stuff. So keep an eye on the page. Hopefully seeing some good pitching matchups and I'll take a couple Judge homers, maybe a Soto bomb in there somewhere, but
why not?
I'll take that. But yeah, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for joining us in the chat. It's always fun when we get the interactions mid-show. So thanks for that. And before you go, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook. You can also follow on Instagram. You can also subscribe on YouTube, listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. And share our reels, comment on our reels. We put them out there all the time. We interact with you guys. We love it. So keep it up. Thanks for the support. We will see you next Monday at 8 p.m. with a special guest, hopefully, Baseball History Dork. So we will see you next Monday at 8